Steve Mazzone here from Ocean State Running, and we're here with William Cauley and Maddy McGloin of Barrington, weight throwers at Barrington. Guys and girls, how are you doing?
I'm doing well so far. It's definitely been interesting spending so much time in the house. The it's been tough sort of making it work, but now that things have started to open up in Rhode Island, we've been able to go back to a nice circle. At least I have.
Maddy, how about you?
I'm doing good. It's definitely been an adjustment from training almost every single day, lifting almost every single day to having to stop for a while and trying to find like different places to practice and exercise.
So, kind of the reason we're doing this is we like to, give the seniors some recognition for all the hard work that you did. And also because you kind of got shortchanged this season with COVID-19 putting an end to the outdoor season. Looked like it was going to happen, and then bam, they took it away. So let's talk about that first. So William, I'm going to start with you. So you had a good indoor season where you got fifth at the state meet through 70 feet for the first time. I think you did it multiple times. So you were on to a pretty good season. And plus, this happened like right before New Balance Nationals. I think a few days before is when they canceled that meet too. So talk about your reaction to it. How were you able to handle it, and what was just your general reaction to all this happening this season?
I was really, really disappointed. I'm very happy with how, even with nationals not happening, I'm very happy with how my indoor season went. I think I finished with PR 72.7. That was a big improvement from last year. It's 64 and change. And but I was really looking forward to the hammer. I didn't end my year last year on a fantastic note. I really hope to improve a lot over the spring, but didn't really get that opportunity. I do think it was the right call. As much as it sucks, I think the general health has to be priority. But I really would have liked the opportunity to hopefully get over 220 or at least break 200.
Well, what were you looking to do were you going to be competing in the indoor nationals too?
Yep. Yeah, I was very much looking forward to. The training had been going very well. I was hoping to be All-American. I was seeded, I believe, 10th. But I felt that I could, if I had a good throw, I could move up, and I had worked hard for that, and I felt ready to do it. But
because it kind of seemed like you've been on a roll this indoor season. I mean, hitting 70 feet for the first time, and I think at least from what I saw, you did it at least a half a dozen times. So you were. It seemed like you had the momentum going into that indoor nationals to help Rhode Island dominate that event once again.
Yeah, I was ready to make that sort of leap. I had plateaued at 70 to 71 feet very, very, very consistently. And in practice, I had been starting to put things together to get past that, hopefully into like the lower to mid 70s. And I did finish off with a PR at Weightorama, which I was happy with, but I had a lot more left there that I was hoping I could bring to nationals.
And how about you, Maddy? So you went into, you threw your PR or close to your PR at the indoor state meet. You got third there, but you threw a PR of 51.7.5. What did that rank in the country at the time?
I'm not quite sure since the list frequently moves, especially with inches. I think I might have been maybe below top 10. I know I was in it for a while at one point, but I'm not quite sure.
So my guess is you were looking to possibly do pretty well at the indoor nationals. So what was your reaction when that got canceled, and then how were you able to deal with what continued with this COVID-19 kind of putting a standstill to everyone's life?
Yeah, it was definitely very upsetting. I know one of the main things at first that got me through New Balance being canceled was the hopes of having an outdoor season, since I particularly love the hammer in the outdoor season. But then once that was canceled, that was definitely quite difficult. And now I'm just kind of holding out hope for hopefully New Balance outdoor, and then maybe summer meets. So yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned about the outdoor nationals. They moved it an extra month, put it in July, and that's pretty much the only meet that's going on right now because obviously everybody's regular season got canceled. How are you guys able to stay motivated during this time? Because I mean, before you used to be in there with your teammates, with your coach. And now it's pretty much you're going to be by yourself for the most part with the social distancing and stuff. How are you guys able to keep yourself motivated? William, I'm going to start with you.
Well, for me, something I've sort of kept in mind through all of this is, and I think Maddy would agree, is all things considered, we're very fortunate in that we both have 4 more years of track and field after this. So we're still working to be the best we can, not just for ourselves, but even if we can't compete for Barrington again, we will be competing again. And when that comes, we want to be as ready as possible. I'm trying to look at this as an opportunity to just sort of like buckle down. Losing the gyms didn't help that very much, but at least with the practice, making the best of the situation, and hopefully leaving it better than when I entered it.
Maddy, how about you?
Definitely. I mean, I'm really holding out hope for these summer meets, but if not, like I'm definitely still going to keep on training because I have next year to look forward to and the rest of my collegiate season. And I really want to go in like the best athlete I can be, just really help the team.
So both of you have competed all 4 years at Barrington?
I have.
Maddy, you, I think it's 2 years, right?
Actually, this is my first year. So I transferred for my senior year. Last year I went to BCA down the street.
Okay,
and,
that's right.
Yeah, I actually didn't have a real indoor season last year. I just did like a couple open meets here and there. So last year's spring season was like my first official like season of track and field.
So what has been the highlight of your high school careers? Maddy, I'm going to start with you. What's been the highlight of your high school career?
That's quite hard. Maybe I actually don't even know. I really enjoy all the meets and just being able to be like such an amazing coach and team. I really can't pinpoint one moment. Maybe states this year since that was like the first time I really like placed high at a big meet.
Which is definitely something to be proud of, finishing third. I mean, congratulations on that. William, how about you?
For me, it's probably the Dartmouth relays this year. It was the first time I threw over 70 feet. We actually had 2 meets that weekend. We were at the Invitational, and then 2 days later we were at Dartmouth. And it was just a fantastic weekend for me. The energy of that meet was just, it was really, really great. It was sort of like the perfect environment to just throw your best. And I felt that was a really big barrier for me. That was a goal that I hadn't really considered in past years as possible, and sort of breaking that and maybe pushing beyond it was really something I'm proud of.
And talk about throwing the weight, throwing the hammer here in Rhode Island, where it seems like you got a ton of you guys that are national level throwers. You know, the one stat that stuck out in my mind, I was looking up your stats, William, in 194.11 at the state meet last year, and that effort gets you 6th place. Normally in any other state, that's gonna win it. Talk about competing in a state like Rhode Island, where you got all these 200 plus throwers in the hammer and 70 plus in the weight. It's kind of a good thing, but it's kind of like I said, it's kind of a good thing, and it probably helps you guys more so than anything. William.
Yeah, absolutely. The throwers in Rhode Island are fantastic. One of my favorite parts about throwing is the community of it, where even my rivals, people who I'm competing with, who I'm beating or I'm losing to, I'd consider all of them friends. And we all support each other. We're all pushing for each other. At the same time, we're competing, so we have to perform our best. And there's so many people here who are so good at throwing, and it's taken so seriously that if you're not performing at your best, or more importantly, you're not training your best, you're not putting everything into it, you can't really succeed. there are times it can be demoralizing. I'm fortunate enough to compete against Kyle Moison and Logan Coles, two of the best all-around throwers in the country, without question. And yeah, there are times it can be frustrating to lose, but being exposed to that level of talent, and they're also great people, so they push me, and it's great to have something to chase after.
How about you, Maddy? Same thing. It seems like Rhode Island in the girls too. I mean, you have some great throwers. I think Cheyenne Figueroa, wasn't she #1 in the country?
I think so, yeah.
So you have the top thrower in the country in your state, and then plus everybody else. But yeah, talk about that for you.
I think the competition is really good, and also just the environment. Everyone, like Will said, is friends with each other, and it's kind of nice to have like healthy competition going on, but like also support systems from friends who are competitors too. And the girls especially are so nice, and I just came into the community last year. I met so many good friends that I definitely think will be lifelong friends.
So not only do you guys have the competition, but in my eyes, you probably have the best coach in the country, or at least one of the best coaches in the country, and Coach Cauley. What is it that that makes him so successful? What do you think out of him that makes him so successful?
I mean, I always tell people I have never met any person in my life who is so devoted to something as Coach Cauley is to hammer throwing. Um, he loves it. He has just his passion for it is unparalleled, and it really shows. Not and in addition to that, he's also a fantastic coach. He is beyond knowledgeable. He has looked at it from so many different points of view. He's talked to so many people. He has such a great understanding of the event that learning from him it's a privilege. He really is just the best. And he'll do whatever it takes to help us succeed.
Yeah. How about you, Maddy? What is it about Coach Cauley?
I mean, I think it's hard to even describe how amazing of a coach he is. I mean, he's so supportive of all of his athletes. He really makes sure that if you have like certain goals, that he will help you achieve it. And he puts in countless, hours into it. He'll is basically always available, to talk to him, either, right now on the phone since we're social distancing. But no matter what time it is, he's always like willing to like help us out with anything. And he is just an amazing coach.
No, I 100% agree with both of you. And let me tell you, he wants to make sure that everything is completely accurate for you guys too, and the stuff that we print. He's one of my biggest supporters, I think, of the website, but also lets me know if I'm a little off on a performance that you guys did, and I 100% appreciate it. He's always apologizing. I'm just like, nope, let me have the accurate information out there. So he definitely has a passion for the sport, and you guys are very lucky to have him. So on as far as competition, I know you guys travel to other places besides Rhode Island. You go out to Massachusetts, New York. You're constantly going to different types of meets. What would you classify as your favorite meet to go to each and every year?
It kind of differs for indoor and outdoor. For indoor, it has to be Weightorama. I know nationals would probably be the easy answer, but something about Weightorama is it's after the bulk of the season. Everyone's at the top of their game getting ready for nationals, but it's a very fun environment, and it sort of melds with like the high level competition. I mean, I've thrown both my PRs for the last 2 years at Weightorama. I remember I threw mine last year with a nosebleed, and it's just a really fun meet, and I think it does a fantastic job at just capturing what makes throwing Rhode Island so great. You have some of the best throwers in the country all together competing really well, but having fun doing it.
No, I agree, because I've gone to some of those meets to cover them, and the competition's there, and it does seem like you guys have a lot of fun. Maddy, how about you?
As much as I love definitely like the high competition, like bigger meets, I definitely would have to say like kind of the hometown meets are my favorite, especially like the Weightorama. And I think what is it, the weight pentathlon. I'm kind of forgetting the name, but it's kind of like where I guess everyone gets to come together, have some fun, and also just get to compete.
So tell me, what is it about the weight throw, the hammer that entices you guys to do this? And I say this all the time. I mean, you guys are the ones that consistently are among some of the top athletes in the country. And unfortunately, because of the way track is, you guys are kind of off to the side. People can't actually see all the great things that you're doing. Only a select few people can see it. So it's got to be something that you definitely have to have a love for. So tell me, what is it that draws you what is it that drew you to this event, or events, I should say?
When I first started, I was drawn to it just because, I mean, it's a really cool looking event. But once I started doing it, it's a very, very, very complex thing. But at the same time, it's not just methodical. There's not a step-by-step guide on how to throw the hammer far. It's very nuanced. It brings together so many different aspects of athleticism with coordination, muscle memory, mental, like staying calm during competition, and it sort of boils them down into just one event. And I think because it does, it's able to challenge you in a very unique way, where there's no shortcuts. You work hard, sort of other things come with it. Like, yeah, you want to be strong, you want to be fit, but if you're not working hard and you're not sort of willing to learn, you won't succeed.
Maddy, how about you?
Definitely. I think, the hammer is by far my favorite event. And I originally came to Coach Cauley getting help with the shot put. And then the second he mentioned hammer, and like he talked to me about it, and he's like, maybe we could start that. Once I started it, I knew like this was definitely the event that I wanted to do. There's just something about it where it has so much technique that you never, even on your best throw, like it's never perfect and it's never all the way there. So it always like keeps calling you to work on certain things, like even more and more, until it's just an amazing sport.
Now, how about when it comes to competition? I know athletes in general are superstitious people, but particularly track and field athletes, I tend to see. Any type of rituals that you have to do each and every time you compete?
For me, there's not too many. Like, I like to get a really good night's sleep the night before. Some people say 2 nights before, but I found for me, like, sleeping the night before is really important. But that's not really superstition. That's just something I should do every night. But I tend to eat a big meal the day of meets, like for breakfast. If it's a meet in the afternoon, I'll space it out a while, but I'll just eat really big breakfast. I typically get a sandwich from Bagels Etc., which is a sort of deli we have in town. And that's pretty much, I have a stretching routine. Oh, actually, there's one. I wear Batman socks. I have a specific pair of Batman socks I like to wear when I compete at high-level meets. And that's the main thing.
Got to be those Batman socks. So what is it? I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to ask another question to you, William. Talk about what do you do to actually calm the nerves? Because you guys, you get 3 strikes and you're out. I mean, if you can't get it those throws during those 3 preliminary throws, you're not in. And to me, I think you guys are under the most pressure because of that. So what do you do to kind of calm yourself down and make sure you at least get a throw to advance you to the finals?
Yeah, it's not easy. That's something that it has hurt meets for me. It took me probably until this year to really learn. And it's something where you just have to sort of embrace it. What Coach Gorley always tells me is like the biggest obstacle you have is between your ears. And to just like embrace the competition, know that you spent thousands of hours, you've taken thousands of throws, you know what to do, so just let yourself do it. Get out of your own way. I also like to listen to music. I talk to people. I will stretch out really well. Just make sure everything I can control is under control. But when it's time to compete, when I'm in the line, it's to business.
Maddy, how about you? Any type of rituals that you have to do before competing?
I don't really think I have any. I mean, I love to roll out and stretch and all that, but I still haven't, like, I guess, found the thing that I always have to do before me. It kind of changes during different meets.
And
But
how about you during competition? What do you do to kind of calm the nerves a bit during those preliminary throws, especially?
yeah, so definitely if I'm maybe having a tough time, I'll always remember what Coach Cauley tells me is to throw smart. So you always have to worry about like maybe adjusting a little bit in the circle, or it's always about just getting a throw that you know will take you to the finals.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a few non-track related questions. All right, so you could go anywhere in the world, all expense paid trip. Where would you go? William, we'll start with you.
All right. I always wanted to go to Japan.
Japan. That's the first one I had on that one. And why is it? What is it about Japan?
Part of it's just a very different culture. I mean, seems like a beautiful place. I like how different it is than America in a lot of ways. Sort of going somewhere that really is different. Also, just something I've kind of always wanted to do.
You just don't want to go there now.
I'll give it a couple years.
Yeah. And how about Maddy? How about you?
That's pretty hard. Maybe like Iceland or I don't know, Canada. I love the mountains and stuff like that. Really pretty views.
I like it. Both of you came up with different places. I'm getting a lot of Greece, a lot of Italy, a lot of Bora Bora, believe it or not. But these are the first I've got of these particular countries. Here's another question. What's something people might not know about you?
I can yo-yo very well.
Really?
I think Maddy knows this. When I was in middle school and like as an underclassman, it's just something I did a lot. I've spent way too much time yo-yoing. It's not as silly as it sounds, but it's still pretty silly. And yeah.
No, it's definitely a skill. I mean, being able to yo-yo. I mean, I did it when I was younger, but it's definitely a skill. Maddy, how about you?
I don't really know. I'm trying to think one, but maybe I have a really bad Netflix addiction, which has really came out during this quarantine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all getting that Netflix edition right now. What's some advice that you could give the young athletes out there? You know, the incoming freshmen and even the young freshmen and sophomore now. Sophomores now? What's some good advice you think you could give them? Maddy, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Maybe just find an event or sport that you really love and that you're passionate about. Like, you don't want to be doing something that you don't really care for, or maybe you're having pressure from family or something to do. You really want to find something that you can pour your whole soul into it and just like really put in all this work and love what you're doing.
And William, how about you?
For me, it has to be like, don't limit yourself. Even if you have a goal, even if it seems unrealistic, you got to push for it. Whether you're applying to schools and you're like, oh, or you're a freshman who's thinking about college for some reason, don't say, oh, I won't be able to get in here. Oh, that's too hard. Just push for it. You never know. Or if you're an athlete saying, I want to win states, I want to be state champion, or I want to be an All-American, even if it sounds ridiculous, push for it. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I never thought I'd be in a position where I was performing highly at the state level, let alone the national level, even 2 years ago. So I think anyone can do almost anything if you work for it and you set that goal and you're willing to, and you want to achieve it.
No, I agree, and all great advice from both of you. So any particular person or people that you want to give shout outs to? Maddy, I'm going to start with you again.
Well, definitely, again, Coach Cauley, because if it wasn't for him, wouldn't be having this interview, wouldn't be even in the sport or anything, or even having the opportunity to go to a good college for it. And just maybe family for like supporting me, going to all the long track meets, having to sit through it, all that.
Family's definitely important. William, how about you?
I mean, the first thing is Coach Cauley. Coach Cauley has changed my life without question, and I cannot be more thankful for all that he's done for me. then my family, which is they've supported me, of course. But also I want to thank like the people in Rhode Island who are throwing, who I compete against. There's too many to list, but they've all been great friends. They've been great competitors. They've pushed me to be the best I can. And I hope I've done the same for them.
So William, you're heading off to Princeton University.
Yep.
And Maddy, you're heading off to Bucknell.
Yep.
University. William, I'm going to start with you. So we have a few Barrington people down at Princeton, or we had one recently graduate, right? Adam Kelly, I believe.
Yep.
Why Princeton University? Obviously a great education down there, but why Princeton? Princeton.
For me, the primary thing to consider was the education, and I think Princeton's unrivaled in that regard. They have a really strong focus on their undergraduate students, which is something that's really important to me. They have world-class facility. I think as a school, it's for me, it's the best fit. The program is fantastic. I'd argue it's been dominant in the Ivy League for track and field. I believe they're on 6 HEPS championships in a row now. They won indoors this year by a large margin. After spending time with their team, meeting the coaching staff, I thought all of them were great, and it was just kind of a no-brainer for me at that point.
And what are you going to major in? Have you decided then on that yet?
I'm sort of torn between two things. Right now, I'm leaning towards economics, but I'm also really interested in computer science, potentially. So it's going to be between those two, most likely economics, though.
Two great fields that there's a lot of opportunity, it seems, in job opportunities. Maddy, how about why Bucknell?
Well, at first, I didn't really know too much about the school. I knew I loved the area. The campus was really nice. And then once I got there, that's kind of like when my decision really came about. I was able to go on a visit. And once I met the team and the coach, I knew like it was definitely the place for me. And I definitely like, it's definitely a smaller school. And I love how a lot of the class sizes will be much smaller. And that really helps, like, I don't know, in education, that's something I really look for.
Well, William and Maddy, I want to thank you for joining me here today. And I wish you the best luck in the next stage of your life, going off to college and competing in college. But again, thanks for joining us here today. It was great. And I wish you luck.
Thank you so much for having me.